Hi everybody, I'm Eric. Welcome to my guitar corner. Today I'm going to be doing a review of this Yamaha FG800. I don't know if you could call it a review. I'm just going to talk about it. This is a guitar that I've had for a couple years. It's a pretty popular model, a good seller. A lot of beginners buy these. I actually just bought this a couple years ago, and I haven't really done a video talking about it. I've played it quite a bit in some of my videos. I bought it way after I was a beginner, so I still play it a lot. I have a Martin D12 and another Epiphone EJ200, and this is probably my number 3 acoustic, but I still play it. I play it a lot. I keep it around the house and pick it up sitting on the couch. It's a great guitar. People say it's a beginner guitar. I don't even know for sure what that means, but it's a great guitar for, for what I need it for. I'm not a professional or anything. I just like to make videos and learn songs. But anyway, this guitar, these cost about $200. That's where they are pretty much everywhere. Brand new, they're $200. You could probably find one cheaper used, although I haven't really seen a lot of these pop up used. But it's probably one of the least expensive guitars that actually has a solid top. It's got a solid spruce top, which is a big thing in acoustic guitars. If you're looking to step up, from just a cheap plywood $100 guitar acoustic, this is probably the next logical step. This thing will probably improve. The tone will improve with time, and it's got the solid Sitka spruce top, and it actually looks like a fairly thick piece of spruce, which I don't know if that makes it good or bad necessarily for an acoustic to have a thicker top, but a lot of times you can look inside the sound hole there. I don't know if it really shows up, but if you're not sure if a guitar has a solid top, you can look inside the sound hole and you can kind of see the wood grain. You can see the edge of the wood grain, especially like right through here. You can see the edge of the wood grain, which this one, I can kind of see it there. But anyway, that's really important in an acoustic guitar, I think, to have that solid top. It doesn't necessarily have to be spruce. They have solid, all kinds of stuff, and even other stuff, graphite and stuff nowadays. But the back and sides on this guitar, I believe, are laminated. I know it's a laminated NATO, I believe, which I don't know exactly what that is, but it's not solid wood. And on the neck, you can actually see this neck joint right here, where this piece is glued, which is kind of unusual. Usually you'll see like a scarf joint, maybe. I guess that's a Yamaha thing where it's just flat across there, and this piece is glued on probably to this part of the neck. And you can also see different layers. There's like 4-5 different layers of wood here, right here, so that's not a solid piece. I'm not sure if this is a laminated also, this neck. I don't know if they mean laminated by having these separate pieces here, or if the whole thing is just laminated and it's laminated pieces glued together. So maybe if you know, you can comment below. I'm not sure. I know the back and sides are laminated NATO. But I think the headstock on these Yamahas look pretty cool. They got kind of that V shape to it, and this little flower bird thing here, whatever that is. The tuners are closed back, probably just like the Yamaha brand, whatever kind they use, they put on at the factory. Those are the perfectly fine tuners. They work really well. I haven't had any issues at all with this thing staying in tune. A lot of people like to blame the tuners also if a guitar has tuning problems, and usually the tuners aren't even the issue. It's the strings getting caught up in the nut, and the string's not properly wrapped around the or not properly put on, not wrapped around the peg head there. But it's got just a plastic nut. You could upgrade that maybe to a bone nut and plastic saddle, which you could also upgrade to a bone saddle, which I haven't. This is just exactly the way it came. I put new strings on it a couple times. I like the I think the Diodario aluminum bronze. I don't have a pack around here right now. I'd show you. Those are my current favorite. I've replaced the strings on this thing several times since it was new. That's usually the first thing I do when I get a new guitar. Most of the time the strings they put on at the factory are kind of junk, with cheap strings, whatever they have probably. But it's got like the binding is a 5-ply binding, and the black on the outside obviously, and then the back is just single bound black. It's pretty good. It's a good looking guitar. I like the gloss finish. I love gloss finish on an acoustic. To me, I've got a Taylor that actually has kind of a matte finish, and it's just not the same to me. And it's a Taylor Big Baby, which is it's a fine guitar, but I thought the Yamaha pickguard was kind of unusual the way it goes, but I'm getting used to it. I think this is a great looking guitar, and sounds great. It doesn't, no electronics, no tuner or anything. You know, I kind of feel like I'm not really a big fan of electronics, pickups and all that in guitars, acoustics anyway. You know, it almost seems nowadays they don't really make like a mid-level acoustic. Like I have the Martin D12, and it's got the preamp and all that. I really like the tuner actually, but to me, I wish they would just make like a really good quality mid-range acoustic guitar like that, solid wood with no electronics. And it seems, maybe it's just me, it seems like that's kind of hard to find nowadays. They want to put electronics in everything, but I don't even really ever plug that thing in. Just use the tuner. But anyway, this Yamaha has these really small dot position markers, which probably honestly helps reduce the production cost, but I think they look cool too, you know. If you can see those there, you can barely see that one, but that's the 12th fret, the 2 dots, and they're really small. And I think that actually kind of looks kind of classy. It's got the side markers, of course, so you know, if that'll help you find the frets for beginners especially in it. But I think it sounds great. It's kind of almost boomy a little bit, which I think can be a good thing sometimes, you know. And I don't really, I'm not the greatest player in the world, and I've been playing since I was like 12 years old, but I don't like to tell people that, because then they think I should be way better than I actually am. I was actually a lot better when I was about 19, 20 than I am now. So mostly I just strum some chords. I like to learn songs and sing a little bit. I do a lot of acoustic covers on my channel. I don't really play professionally anywhere, anything like that. Anyway, this is what this thing sounds like, strumming an open E chord, play some bar chords. But it's got a rosewood fingerboard. I believe that's rosewood. Anyway, this is it's got some kind of especially scalloped bracing that I don't know exactly. It's supposed to help project the sound better. I guess it does, but you see the truss rod adjustment in there. That's the only adjustment I've really done to this. I tweaked the truss rod a little bit. To be honest, the strings in this are probably a little bit higher than I normally prefer, but I haven't really done anything to adjust them. I could maybe file that nut down. It seems like the nut is just a little bit high, but it works perfectly fine and stays in tune good. I didn't put it on the tuner before I started playing, and Sounds like it's in tune. You can comment below if you're one of those guys that always likes to comment that the guitar's out of tune. I see those guys on YouTube all the time. Also, this guitar has one thing I've noticed is it has a pretty slim neck, which is probably good for a beginner. I learned on a guitar electric that had a really thin neck, and it's just, you know, it's obviously it's going to be a little easier when you're beginning to get your hand around there, probably, but I actually prefer a little thicker neck than that. But anyway, that's about all I can say about it right now. It's a good guitar. I like it a lot. Couple $100 and you got yourself a guitar that's probably going to last you a long time. Maybe if you want to step up, you can get the bone nut in the saddle, bone saddle, and a lot of guys like to do that. Anyway, check out my channel though if you like acoustic covers. I do a lot of that. I do a little bit of comedy. I used to do. There's a character called Russell Brevard that I created that I have fun with. I don't do that as much as I used to, but anyway, like this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you want. If not, you don't have to. That's fine. I just make these videos mostly for my own enjoyment. It would be kind of cool to make money at YouTube one day. Probably not ever going to happen.